What's up, everyone? That was off key. My daughter would not like that. Lucky Lefty Pod. I'm your boy, Shaun Davis. Left, where you at? Left, where you at? I'm looking for you.
We right here. We right here. Got the computer
Yeah,
charged
Onora
up
boy.
today, so we in a full effect on the Lucky Lefty.
Onora boys in the building. Brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure that you do so
responsibly.
You have to do it responsibly. Fantastic show today. Once again, thank you everybody for your continued support. I mean, we're breaking download records each and every month. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown, all of our great content. Leave 5 stars, leave your comments. We appreciate everything. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. Absolutely, man. There were only 28 days in February, and we're still breaking records, bro.
Only 28, unfortunately, man. Only 28, unfortunately.
28 was it was you turned 28 days. Special month last night, breaking records because of you, LL Nation. We greatly appreciate you. We're going to take a ton of your questions today. Why do Notre Dame fans, maybe you guys can help me with this. Why do Notre Dame fans do this, Left? You know me, Left. I'm a huge Notre Dame fan, right? But I'm also a Chicago Bulls fan.
Yep.
White Sox fan. White Sox, Bears. So, University of Illinois. So games will be on, and I'll comment on the games. Or I'll say something about a Bulls game. Like last night. They're playing the Detroit Pistons probably without their top 4 players. Are all hurt. Bulls are up 20. I turn back. It's a 2-point game with 40 seconds left. And I tweet out, the fact that this is a 2-point game is absolutely ridiculous. It's laughable. And you know what somebody replied? Should be a pretty good show tomorrow with CJ Carr visiting Texas A&M. And I'm like, what does that have to do with what I just said? Like, what? Like if you just wanted to say that to me, just say it. Don't respond.
They want it to be a story. They want the story to be addressed because they want to hear your opinion, Shaun.
Like, dude, don't respond to my Bulls tweet, my Bulls rage tweet with Notre Dame. That's like mixing. That's not a good mix, right? That's like mixing.
It's kind of Chicago, Chicago.
That's like mixing Hennessy and tequila, bro. You can't do that. You can't do that. Keep them
only
separate.
Mix you can do Hennessy and Patron,
Just keep them separate. But it was crazy. I was like, what is going on? And then to find out that CJ Carr is going to be in a 7-on-7 tournament at Texas A&M, and he's not visiting Texas A&M. I'm like, man, first of all, because at that point, now I have to go do my research, right?
Now you put me on the hunt.
Because I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Now I have to go do my research. Only to find out there was much to do about nothing. There was much to do about nothing. So for me, it was just like, look, when I get on the show tomorrow, I'm going to let all the Notre Dame fans know. If you want to tweet at me something, tweet at me. But don't respond to my Chicago sports thoughts with Notre Dame thoughts. It just gets tricky, man. And I was raging last night. The Blackhawks traded Patrick Kane. That's the end of an era. The White Sox are just the White Sox. The Bulls, bro, I need to trade cities. Maybe I need to move to Ohio.
Man, you'll be a great sports fan for a long time, man. We have a lot to offer, from the football to the baseball aspect. You could be a South professional sports fan in Cincinnati, or you can be a Northerner and like Cleveland sports and that sports market. But if you're an Ohioan, a true Ohio sports fan, you like it all. We got the Reds. We got the Bengals, Who Dey, Indians, Ohio State. We even got the Mac. Marcus Freeman came from Cincinnati. We got what?
Yeah.
So if you like sports from Ohio, we got you. You be a happy fan.
What do you think, LL Nation? Do you think I should be fair weather and switch over to Ohio and partner with my boy Left?
Ooh, don't let me keep
trying
talking
to
about the music.
he's trying to pull me over.
That's right.
He's trying to wait a minute. You said don't talk about the music.
Yeah, because we got that too. If we want to throw in music, we got that too.
I know you're not trying to compare Ohio. You're not doing that. You're smarter than that, Left. You're smarter than that. You're not comparing Ohio now, unless you're going like old school Ohio, like Roger Troutman. That like if you're going legacy, Bootsy Collins. I mean, if you're going legacy, like I know the Ohio legacy now. Like I'm entrenched. I'm entrenched in music. I've been to Cincinnati for the festival a couple times.
Yeah, bro. And we got something for you, Shaun. Anything you want,
you ain't got nothing for me. I already know. But you know, we got our Earth, Wind, and Fires.
That's right.
We got our Kanye's.
Yeah, you guys
know.
Kanye is a culture shifter, not a hip hop artist. It's different.
Come on, man. There you go. Moving the goalposts. You heard what Kendrick Perkins said about moving the goalposts for MVP, right? There you go. I am extremely knowledgeable of Ohio's music history. Extremely knowledgeable. You know, but you got Shaka Khan. You start coming with like the Caravan. We don't need to go to the gospel side because we got gospel, we got R&B, we got hip hop. I mean, you know, that's just Chicago. And don't make me go to like the rock groups.
Oh yeah,
the rock and roll groups from Chicago. I don't think you want to do that.
Y'all got some flavor.
Yeah. Chicago music is kind of special. It's kind of special. The Midwest in general, I don't think Midwest gets the love it deserves from a musical standpoint. There's so much focus on, of course, Detroit, but Motown, New York, Philly, because Philly was huge. Gamble and Huff, Teddy Pendergrass, all the groups that came out of Philly. Then you started talking about LA. They get most of the love, but definitely places like Ohio and Chicago, St. Louis even, deserve a lot of love when it comes to what they've added to the history of music, no doubt. Anthony Solomon said, "Don't fall for the trap, the Malik's trap." Oh no. Domawab said, "Move to Detroit and root for the no." That combination. What's the worst city combination right now? That's a good question. LL Nation, what's the worst sports city combination? Detroit might be the worst right now because the Red Wings aren't what they used to be. You got the Lions, you got the Tigers. Detroit's pretty bad.
Yeah, Detroit. They are more consistently pretty trash, but I don't know. Orlando's pretty bad too. The Magic ain't been nothing.
I mean, they really don't. They only have one team, the Magic. What else do they have?
Well, I was thinking Tampa and Orlando together.
So you just combining like Florida.
Because the Mariners aren't that good either, aren't they?
Well, the Mariners are out in Seattle.
No, not the Mariners. What's the Tampa team?
No, the Tampa Rays are man, great.
The Rays are nice. The Rays are great.
They've been great for like the past decade. Yeah. Dude, they're like always battling for first place in the AL East. Absolutely. Man, they're the only people really holding it down for Florida.
Yeah.
You know,
the Rays. Because the Bucks is, not worth too much.
I mean, Tom Brady got the Tampa. Someone says Garland Doxy said Indy.
You got Pacers been mediocre for a long time.
Yeah, but they're young and they're coming. They have a lot of young talent.
Halliburton's nice.
Halliburton's nice. Mathurin is nice. I like the young talent. Plus, they play in a bad division.
Yeah.
But Minnesota,
but their talent isn't better than Cleveland's young talent.
Let's see, the Minnesota Wild have been pretty good. The Twins have been pretty consistent in the last decade. So it's hard to say Minnesota. I would definitely say Detroit is worse than Minnesota. Jay Henry says Toronto. The Raptors just won an NBA championship, right?
What, 3
4 years? That was like 3-4 years ago. The Blue Jays just went to the playoffs with their young talent. Toronto was kind of on the come. And then the Maple Leafs are like original 6 royalty in the NHL. I don't know. Shout out Drunk Vigo. That's right. Chi-Town, Kirby Puckett. Shout out. Oh, you're right. Pittsburgh. Man, thank you, Josh Buffo. Yes. Pittsburgh's pretty average right now, bro. As a sports town, the Steelers are the only thing holding.
Now, Mike Tomlin is the only thing holding that thing down.
I think because Crosby is at the end, coming to the end. Yeah, because they're like 4 or 5 years removed from, I think, winning a Stanley Cup. The Penguins. I can see Pittsburgh being debatable. Yeah, this is a good one. I am garbage man. The Broncos and Rockies both stink. That's true. Right now, Denver but they do have the Nuggets though. They're the number one seed
number one team in the West.
The number one team in the West right now. So if you're in Denver, you're riding with Jokic right now in the crew.
Oh yeah, heavy.
Yeah.
Now they do got Sean Payton at the Broncos.
They just got Sean Payton. Yeah, they did just
turn around real quick.
Yeah. See, even down in Houston, the Texans stink, but you got the world champion Astros.
And they won twice.
Yeah. And yeah, the Avalanche, thank you, Coach Vic. The Avalanche did just win the Stanley Cup. They've had some injury problems. That young defenseman has been injured a lot and out of the lineup. And Coach Vic, yes, we get credit when you download the podcast. You have to download the podcast. I saw your earlier comment. So we're gonna start the show off. We'll get to Notre Dame shortly, but it's Thursday, baby. It's Thursday. So you know what that means. That means we were watching Snowfall last night. That's what that means. Like there is no Thursday show without us watching Snowfall last night.
It's tonight. Yeah, it's tonight.
What do you mean it's tonight? This dude, are you kidding me?
No, it's Wednesdays. Or are you talking about Thursday nights? It's Thursday nights.
Snowfall is every Wednesday night, Left.
Oh my God.
What do you see? This is why
about it last.
This is why I constantly send reminders via text to Left.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Because life gets busy.
Oh my goodness. Did I missed it? Oh my God.
This is one of the best episodes.
It was good too. No.
Bruh.
Okay, we save it for tomorrow. We gotta save it for tomorrow. For the Culture Friday.
Okay.
Save it for it makes sense.
Okay. I can't believe this, man. Every Thursday we talk Snowfall.
Oh, I can't believe it.
And this dude talking about it come on Thursday night, doesn't you know darn well Snowfall comes on Wednesday nights, man.
I definitely Coach Vic is absolutely right. I watch it on Hulu, like the commercials. So I always try to watch it like right after the premiere. And I fell asleep last night, and all that.
But you don't have DVR?
No, Hulu. I just watch it on Hulu because I can get right to it. No commercials. I already paid $34.99 because I had to add the stars to it because stars went up in they little man. These subscriptions is getting crazy.
said Left is distracted by LeBron's injury.
Now LeBron's honestly injured, but he's the greatest player of all time. So he's going to try to work through it to get to the playoffs so they can face the Kings. That's all they want. They just want the Kings.
If that's what you think. And if that's what you think.
Well, they only 3.5 games behind right now.
They have a tough stretch coming up. I think they play Phoenix this weekend on national TV. That's an L. That's an L.
We got AD playing good right now. He didn't have 30 last game.
They lost. No, they beat OKC.
Yeah.
But they
Come
got
on now.
spanked by Memphis. You know we putting Ja Morant on the petty train today.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, just wait, people. Petty
Just let it
train's gonna
go,
be
Ty.
full today. Petty train's gonna be very full today. It's been crazy. Yesterday was crazy when it came to crazy news.
Like the story is so odd that it's like, man, this is immature. Like the whole thing is immature. Like John Moran, you're a multi-millionaire. I was just on the phone with your family on some other business stuff.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Because I'm sitting back and I'm watching snowfall, right? So I won't get into it.
Please
But
don't,
but
because
I'm
it'll break
inspired.
my
I'm
heart.
inspired by snowfall. The reason I'm
Okay,
inspired by snowfall, because you're watching like a fractured family, right?
right?
And so when I was contacted about the CJ Carr thing, and I started doing my research, and I'm like, what? Let me tell you the thought that I had. This is before I found out. I'm texting, looking up stuff, and I say to myself, I almost came to a point of resignation in my thoughts because I said to myself, well, if he really is opening things back up, can you blame him?
Mm.
Like if he's watching what's transpired over the last 2 weeks, can you blame him? Now, that wasn't the case once I found out what was really going on with the information. But as we get ready to spring forth, and finally we got the schedule, the 22nd of March is the first spring practice, and then pro day, I believe, is the 25th, 3 days afterwards. Last year, the pro day was the day before the first spring practice. So they've changed things around a little bit. But going into spring with all of these visits and everything, I just found it strange that I kind of I was resigned to if things start to fall apart in certain areas during the spring when visits and commitments are supposed to be rolling in, that I would kind of be resigned that it would be a residual effect of certain things that have happened. I wonder if the fan base would feel the same way. Not that I would feel okay with it. I'm not okay with it. But would you kind of say to yourself, eh, I understand it. I get it. Would you be more lenient if you heard a kid in the 24 class say, I'm opening things up after what has transpired in Notre Dame recently? Just
Um,
interested in how fans would view it.
seeing what's happening, I think for a place like Notre Dame, having that much volatility is kind of common. So it would shy away some people who were committed to the school for different reasons. I think CJ's influence from Tommy really is a heavy reason why CJ committed as early as he did. Not that he didn't like Notre Dame early, but his commitment early, I think, had a lot to do with Tommy just because of how things went down. I mean, they had a real conversation about what they were going to do with Dante, who was the class above him, his teammate on his own 7-on-7 team. There was definitely an influence of a preference that came from Tommy that probably gave CJ a real comfort
Hmm.
into committing as early as he did, because that's a year and a half before you even think about going to school, to the point where they even talked about him possibly reclassifying. You only reclassifying if you think you got a real chance at something and you're supported by the people that make those decisions, which coming to find out, it seems like we had a Eric Bieniemy situation where Tommy was an assistant head coach too and offensive coordinator. So he was operating on that side of football as making all the decisions apparently. So um, I think you can't be mad at a kid for thinking about his decision a little bit more. You don't want a situation like Peyton Bowen, who couldn't make up his mind. It seemed like when it felt like he was uh, telling us he was committed to Notre Dame. So I think there's a way to go about it. But if you don't want to be there, you don't want to be there. And then with the transfer portal happening how it is now, what do the fans think about the guys on the team that leave after a year or after 2 years? I mean, is that the same as a kid decommitting or never coming? So just things to think about.
It's interesting too. And then it passed. Once I got the right information, I was like, okay, that's good. So I also went to check out St. Ignatius versus Westinghouse last night in the sectionals down at De La Salle High School. They take on Fenwick in the super sectional on the sectional finals on Friday night. I'll be at that game as well. You have Justin Scott for St. Ignatius in the 24 class, and then you have Nate Marshall in the 25 class, who's another defensive line target for Notre Dame. He also plays basketball, and he'll be playing for Fenwick. So it's going to be fun to see those big two dudes down low battling each other like they battle each other on the football field. And just so you know, Nate Marshall was the Catholic League Defensive Player of the Year. That's right. He beat out Justin Scott this year. So he's a dude. So both of those guys be going head up to see who makes it to the super sectional to make it downstate for the March Madness IHSA boys basketball. So it's going to be a very exciting night. I will say this. He's excited. He's in a really good space right now with everything emotionally that he went through in January with his recruiting. Just really great space. He did say this, like, yo, I'm ready. I'm ready to just get it over. I'm ready to take my last 1 or 2 visits and see if, the decision I made is the right decision. Like that's where he's at. He's still very much in the same space. And, a lot of people are reporting that Georgia is surging and this, that. He hasn't talked to anybody. It's not like he's sitting here talking to coaches and that. He's been playing basketball, man. And that's been his focus. So we got a laugh out of it too, because I jokingly was like, yeah, I heard you had a dream school down south. And he was like, he laughed. Like, dude, look, I talked to this young man January last year. And he told me, and I have proof that I can still bring up. The one offer that I'm waiting for is Notre Dame. So all this other stuff that's being reported, I can't tell you what somebody said in another conversation. I know what's consistently been said to me,
right,
from this young man. And that's it. I want him. I want him to go to the championship game, like play all the way up to April. You know what I'm saying? Win a state championship. Because honestly, this might be the last ride. I don't think people realize that this is his last ride for basketball. He's a junior, but this is his last ride because he's an early enrollee.
Yeah,
he does. There's no other chance for him to play with his boys. So yeah, I'm rooting for him. They beat Fenwick during the regular season, so they should have a pretty good shot. So I'll tap in with them again Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, it's definitely emotional. Your last basketball season before you start your football career at school. So, there's gonna be a different type of energy, a different type of emotion, but definitely want to go out on top.
You don't think about that, like, cause you early enrolled, right? And we were talking yesterday. It took like you guys are so locked in. And Robert Hainsey talked about like if he didn't early enroll, there was no way he would be ready to play first game against Temple his freshman year. I enjoyed my senior year, bro.
The second half, right?
Yes, the second half of senior year is the best.
It's the best. That's what you go to high
That's
school.
what I don't do. I know at that point for me, I had enough credits to graduate after the first semester. So the
So you
second
really
semester,
chilling, yeah.
dude, literally, no, I'm not even lying. I had because you can have a lunch and then you can have a service period. I don't know if they did this in Ohio. Service
Oh,
period
okay.
is when you went to another teacher's classroom and like you helped her grade papers, you ran errands
Okay.
for them,
We
him
had
or
to. I
her.
went to Catholic school, so we had to do service projects. So I did Habitat for Humanity in the summer.
Okay,
That
okay,
thing.
yeah. So I had, dude, literally my senior year, I had a lunch and like 2 service periods.
Oh, back to back. So you taking a long
So I
one.
had like 3 lunches because one of my service periods was with my baseball coach.
Oh, so you in the
So
gym?
he
You
didn't he
chilling?
didn't care if I came. Dude, so I
Yeah,
was like, I had
you roaming the hallways senior year. You just living.
senior year, I was driving to Hyde Park getting pizza. I was driving downtown getting
Yeah,
lunch,
yeah.
driving across the
During
Whitney Young
school.
during school, driving across to see girls at Whitney Young. Like I was, yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I don't know if I had a scholarship and an opportunity to early enroll
you
like
would
you
take it.
guys. I was like, man, I'm having too much. Because I knew what was coming. As soon as we got through Christmas break, I was like, yo, this is about to be on and popping. Like I get prom is like, because I went to junior prom anyway. So missing prom wouldn't have been anything. Well, yeah, I think things are looking up. Like despite, and that's what I really want to get to. That would have been resignation if if there was something to the CJ Carr tweet that someone sent to me. But with all of that, what's springing forth, in my opinion, and what's going to spring forth, we're about to see how powerful Marcus Freeman really is. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I think with everything that's happened, we're really about to see who he is as the leader of a program.
Yes.
Because I think this team is going to play their tails off in 23. And I think this recruiting class is going to end up being one of the best recruiting classes Notre Dame has ever had.
Really?
Absolutely do. Absolutely. Even with everything that's happening, I really think there's going to be one thing I will say. This staff is going to be unified.
Yes.
You know, and I know. There was a good staff last year, but there was a little bit rogue. There was kind of a rogue vibe going on the staff. We don't have to get too deep into it, but there was like, I'm here and this is my guy. And that was obvious because once a certain coach left, that guy left.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like Coach Freeman, the guys he hired, and then that guy and his guy. Now it won't be, everything's much more family on the coaching staff. All right, because all of these Giudugli with Marcus previously, knows him, Joe Rudolph with Marcus previously. Great guy, knows other people. He recruited, I want to say 4 or 5 of the offensive linemen that are currently in the offensive line room. All of that matters. And I just think it's going to be more cohesive with the coaches this year. I really, really do. And I'm not here to judge. I don't think we can judge whether or not Jared Parker or Gerard, as you call him, Gerard Parker is an upgrade over Tommy Rees. But I do think we're going to see Marcus Freeman's strength as a leader, as a mentor, and as a coach. I think you're going to see him come through with flying colors this year. I really do.
100%. I think if anything, he's got his guys. So he's developed that comfortability with the guys he's surrounded himself with, had an actual hand and picking most of these guys, even Gerard Parker. Maybe it was a little funky how that process went, but still the fact that he was there and Marcus Freeman knows him. This is not a stranger, you know. I think that combined with the recruiting and him being able to withstand the storm of what was going on in the news to how his recruits respond and still believe in what he's doing. So I think he has a confidence in himself, you know, that he's addressed some of the recruiting issues. We got a quarterback in, we got a quarterback coming, we got a quarterback after that. So we shouldn't have no problems, right? And then you bring in O-line guy who you can rely on. He's been around. He's well trusted, so you're not losing too much on that end. And just being that, you know, you are able to handle things as good as you can, I think helps him believing that he can get the job done. I think Marcus Freeman's in a real good position. He's checking that schedule and checking it twice and seeing the victories that are definitely attainable this year, especially those top 3 games that we need to make sure we seal our fate on so we can get into these playoffs and further. But for us, I think as a fan, you should be excited because Marcus Freeman is excited about what's coming up this year.
I think Marcus Freeman is pissed off. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Okay.
I don't speak for him, but if I was Marcus Freeman, I would be ticked off.
Ticked off at what though?
Come on, man. We don't have to go into that.
Well, I mean,
you're ticked
off over the situation, but like we said, look, he has culpability in some of that as well. On the response too.
Parlay that. Oh no. Oh, you talking about taking one for the team?
Yeah.
At the press conference?
Yeah.
All right. If you want to throw that at his feet, all right.
But pissed off in the direction of trying to go to the playoffs or just at the circumstances he's facing?
No, knowing what he wanted.
Oh, yeah.
To win in 23. And what happened.
Yeah.
That. I would be ticked off. And I'll be like, you know what? That's all right. That's cool. Don't worry about it. I'll rock with them. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I was. Like, you know, I was one of the best in my neighborhood. I'm talking about grammar school, high school, in my neighborhood, right? You know, on your blocks, like 4 or 5 block radius. You know, I was like that dude. Basketball.
Yeah.
When we go to the court, you get there late, everybody's picked their teams, and it's just you. And you're like, oh man, wait a minute. Y'all my boys, y'all not gonna pick me up?
Oh, yeah.
You know what? You know what? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Who got next? Yeah. Who got next? I'm running with you. No. We good. We good.
And now you guarding them 94 feet.
Exactly.
You try to take it hard to the basket.
Exactly. It's like, no, we're good. No, y'all, man, keep your team. Yeah. I'm rocking with y'all. I'm running with y'all. We're about the bus. Exactly right. And your boys are like, man, why are you playing so hard? Hey, man.
Yeah. It's like, I'm just playing basketball. That's what I would have gave to our team.
Right. Check ball.
Yeah. I don't want to hear it now.
That's when you check ball like 5 times. Check ball.
Yeah, check
ball.
Stop talking. Just
check it.
Yeah. You throw it to the side one time, make them chase it. So.
Absolutely. And I think that's the mindset that Marcus Freeman has right now, man. I really do. I think he's locked in, and you're going to see the very best of Marcus Freeman in all areas as a head coach moving forward and springing forth at Notre Dame. Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Don't forget our YouTube channel. Smash that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. Share, let everybody know. Most of all, hit the notification bell. You'll never be left behind. Every time we go live or post something, you'll know. CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. Home of the misguided passion. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. I got some happy film for Left. You know, we love to make Left happy when it comes to film. We got some happy film with Left. And then we're going to have Left tell you, since we're probably like 10 minutes of content short because this dude didn't watch Snowfall.
Oh man, I'm sorry, man. That's crazy.
We're gonna let Left
right after this.
We're gonna let Left tell you why the high Gino Giudugli is so vitally important for Notre Dame at this point in time. Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. All right, Left. It is made official. Gino Giudugli is the new quarterback coach at Notre Dame, and he comes to Notre Dame at a time when Notre Dame has not had a quarterback coach in a while. That combination has been held by Tommy Rees, who was the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach. You have been on record on this show saying that is a very difficult task in college to properly coach the quarterback position and prepare for games as the offensive coordinator. Gino Giudugli comes in. He's a combination with Jared Parker as the offensive coordinator. That means no one is directly coaching the tight ends, but Joe Rudolph, who has coached tight ends before and is now the offensive line coach, will share some of that responsibility, according to what I've heard. And also, you'll have some other coaches, GAs, help him out along with Jared Parker as well at certain points in time. Heck, when you're the offensive coordinator, you can point out any and everything. So Jared Parker will always have a watchful eye over his tight ends, especially in recruiting.
Yeah.
Please explain what Giudugli in this move that Marcus Freeman decided to make to have a quarterback coach is so important right now at this moment for Notre Dame.
It's vitally important. I think it gives the comfort to the quarterbacks that they can truly get a guy they can lean on consistently throughout the year when they have questions, when they want to develop on certain things, the detail in individual periods during practice, even how the meetings are ran, and the things that it takes to be consistent throughout the year. You get a quarterback coach, a guy that's specific to making sure you guys get better as a group, making sure the starter's comfortable going into the game. When you have just an offensive coordinator that does both, it's just not enough time in the day to be able to make sure your quarterback is thinking how you are, as well as you're trying to get the practice script ready. You're trying to get the film breakdown of how you want your scripted plays and the openers to be. You got to spend extra time breaking down the third down in the blitz cut up. You got to be able to tell all your position groups what they need to focus on for the week. So being able to do all of that in one, you take away from the development portion of the quarterback through the season. Because once you get in season, you're only going down unless you have a focus of doing drills after or doing drills during practice and being intentional with your study habits. With a QB coach, you can go in early with your QB coach, watch the film, break down some stuff. When you're the offensive coordinator, you got meetings. You got meetings. You don't have no time to just be like, let me talk to this guy one on one, because it's always you have to cover everything as an OC. So with Gino, and damn near just having anybody as a quarterback coach in these coming years, with the talent that we have coming in and what we have now with a transfer and a dynamic quarterback in Buckner, you need a guy that can filter out and help the quarterback coach, let him know what they're prepared for and what they're ready for, and give a more collaborative effort and helping the room right. So it's going to be interesting to see his influence and how fast it impacts that quarterback room and how the offense gets better because of it.
What's going to be the key? Like, what's going to be the first sign? Because Sam Hartman is a veteran, left. Sam Hartman is a veteran. Like, he knows, like, acclimate himself to the offense, get used to the wide receivers and their movements. That's something he can do during the spring. But he's played enough football to know how to play the position, even if Notre Dame is different than Wake Forest. So maybe we won't be able to really see the effect of Coach Giudugli and Sam Hartman. But where else can we see it?
You can see it in just the overall communication and just the impact of what the quarterback looks like in game. I think the confidence from his footwork to being a general on the field, a quarterback coach gives you a lot of comfort in being able to know somebody supporting you in the heat of battle. I think Drew Pine would have benefited greatly from having a quarterback coach in his first game when he came in, when Tommy's cussing him out on the phone from the box. Quarterback coach being on the field and on the sideline in particular, moments like that can help Drew get back on track, communicate better with them in that aspect. Because when you're OC and things don't go right, you really get a lot more less empathetic, when you're trying to orchestrate 11 guys doing the right thing all the time and executing things you're trying to set up or whatever the case may be. So a mental balance is what a quarterback coach adds in game, and it can give you more direction on how to get better for coming out second half or whatever.
It's amazing when you think about it. I truly look forward to, in the springtime, just watching how he interacts with Kenny Minchie and Tyler Buckner.
Yeah.
Man, I promise you, that first spring practice, I want to be locked in.
Because it's huge, because usually the QCs focus on the starter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with a quarterback coach, he can get a Kenny Minchie excited, an Angeli more activated in the quarterback room, prep guys better. But as an OC, like even when I'm an OC, I'm really only talking to the guy. The guy need to be slinging that rock. The backups just suffer in that aspect. Even when it came to reps. Now college is different than high school, but I had my starter in high school take all the reps. With a quarterback coach, he'll be in your ear like, all right, we got to get guys reps, rotate guys and stuff like that. So the development of our younger guys being more ready coming in if something happens, I think helps because of a quarterback coach.
And I'm looking forward to it. And Angeli, not to be dismissive, Steve Angeli as well. I'm gonna look.
I mentioned him, I think.
I didn't. You mentioned him. I left him out, and I didn't want to do that because I have been doing that a lot lately. I've kind of just elevated Kenny Minchie, but in elite programs, Kenny Minchie should be ready to play a college football game, especially as an early. By November, he should be ready to start.
And if Angeli was who Angeli should be, Drew Pine shouldn't have been a name in question last year. It should have been we bringing in Angeli. That's, in my opinion, Angeli's window. He wasn't even in the conversation when Tyler Buckner got hurt, and that's telling from the staff. Because if we really had a dude, Marcus Freeman would be like, okay, we went down with Tyler Buckner, but Steve Angeli is picking up right where we left off. They ain't even mention him. And in the bowl game practice, he was excited to get second team reps. So it sounded like he was in scout team all year, So I think if you had somebody like a Tua, a talent like a Deshaun Watson, a talent like Trevor Lawrence, talent like Justin Fields, you got guys that, unfortunately you got hurt, but we got a guy ready to go right now. And I think Angeli not having that impact or that narrative or any peep of excitement once Tyler got hurt, I just think it was very telling. And I think it's probably why we elevate Kenny Minchie to potentially be that next man in, just because, Angeli's been there and he's no different than Ron Paulus Jr. on the roster right now, who we failed to mention, but I guess that doesn't count or something.
Wow. He just put him in the same boat as Ron Powers Jr. just like that.
I mean, but what's the difference? We didn't talk about Ron Powers Jr. starting when Tyler Buckner got hurt, and we wouldn't talk about Angeli neither.
Yeah.
It was like Drew or we don't have anything, and if you a guy, you're supposed to be at least mentioned, or maybe he's a dark horse this year. Who knows?
Yeah. Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, CB Nation, in conjunction with Irish Breakdown, we spin it different. I think the next thing that we're going to watch with this offense is whether or not the temptation for Jared Parker to look. There are some flat out dogs in the Notre Dame wide receiver room. If I'm just sticking with the youngsters, there are some flat out dogs in that wide receiver room.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
So when you have dogs want to eat. Dogs want to eat. And usually the owner or the caretaker has to feed them, or they get real grouchy. They might not want to block on the perimeter as well as they should.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a task having that much talent in the wide receiver room, which has not been the case. You've had to lean on the run game, but now
I'm not gonna wait a minute. Okay, let's
wait a minute. Hold on, let me finish, and then you can respond. There has been a lack of depth in the wide receiver room over the last 3 years because of recruiting and transfers. That's not even debatable.
Depth in terms of impact or depth in terms of we don't have guys over there?
Numbers.
Yeah.
Numbers. They needed Avery Davis to come back last year. He got hurt in the fall.
Okay.
It just wrecked.
Wait a minute.
Wrecked things early in the season.
But we had Tobias there the whole time. Elite programs will have Tobias out there.
You're opening up. That's a whole nother can of worms. If you want to go down, if you want to go down that road,
why I said that we have depth, we don't use it, and we make it look like all we got is Salerno Salami or something doing all the work that we will have younger guys that should be ready to play doing. Introduction to as a receiver, especially if you got some buzz behind you, you'll be playing punt returner. For example, Devontae Neal, Gatorade Player of the Year in Arizona, coming in 5-star. They needed him on the field, and he started at punt returner. Now, was he great? Probably not the greatest, but that's what you do with your best. If you got receivers that you want to get involved, you start them at punt returner, start them in, we can put in back walk-ons that, what I mean? It's like we made it look like we didn't have the depth. That's why I said something.
We made it look like, I understand. Tobias was there last year. Tobias was one dude. He was one dude. Deion Colsey was hurt. He was out. Like the numbers were short. And if you are a championship team having to depend on a freshman to be impactful, that's a problem. He should have been able to be impactful without them saying, we need you to be impactful to win games. As a freshman, you should be able to come in and just play and be impactful. That's the opportunity that this freshman class has, in my opinion, because they do have numbers now. And they brought in Caleb Smith, be the transfer portal. They have veteran leadership now. They have numbers. Now the freshmen can just pop. Like, okay.
The just can pop, yeah.
Now we can just pop. We can do whatever. Tobias is a sophomore now. Tommy's no longer here. To hold him back with a leash.
Chance he's a good coach for the position.
So, like I said, I think there's something to be gained with the continuity in the family atmosphere that's going to exist this year throughout the coaching staff that was not evident last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was not evident last year. And I think that's going to transfer over to the players on the field, and you'll see it in their performances. I feel that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, when the coaching staff is unified and they work well together, it definitely bleeds onto the team because they're like, all right, these guys are together. They know their stuff. They sticking to it. We can feel like we can fall back on their support and not be divisive, just like parents and kids. If the mom and dad, if mom's saying yeah and dad's saying no, the kid don't know which direction, And I think that's the same for the football team. When that 2016 year when we went 4-8, the staff was all over the place after the first game. That's how I knew it was going to be. After the first, no, it was the first half of the first game where we thought the defensive coordinator was going to get fired in the first game. So when that happened, I knew we was going to be. I knew, I knew it was going to be a tough season, and it was. So now, if the coaching staff is back on track, even last year was evident that the coaching staff wasn't all together, and it affected the team. So I think it'd be way better from a relation standpoint in the Google, in the offices, from all aspects, even the non-coaches that are staff in the office, I think would have better relations. If they get that GM position, I think it would add even more comfort. Jack called me. I had a team looking like the 2000 Ravens. Nothing but champions over there. But I think the steps are being made to recover, but I'm glad they're not being made aloud. Just do it in silence, fix it up, and get ready for the spring.
Absolutely. Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. All of our great content you already know. We spin it different. Left, it's always great when you get the opportunity to talk to former players. Robert Hainsey pointed out something yesterday that when he walked off the field in 18 and 20 after facing the eventual national champions, which were respectively the Clemson Tigers in 18 and in 2020, the Alabama Crimson Tide, that he felt, yeah, we could beat them, but he also felt in going up against them, he felt these teams on a different level and kind of asked, like, what's the next step? Could Gino Giudugli in the quarterback position at Notre Dame be the next step over the next 3 to 4 seasons?
I think Gino Caduli's development of the quarterback room, turning that quarterback room into something really respectable, even off of capitalizing off of this transfer, similar to how we've revived Jack Cohn's career, but make it impactful to where a guy like Kenny Minchie is mentioned as a top guy before the season starts. I was hearing about Drake May before he even started. We was hearing about CJ Stroud before he even came on the field. So I think creating a buzz in your quarterback room and developing your quarterback room to making them dangerous, that's the next step. We need to take whatever Lincoln Riley is doing psychologically, recruiting wise, when it comes to that quarterback, and make it an ND style. Because that type of relationship is going to benefit not only the quarterback room but the team itself. Lincoln Riley's problem is defense. He need him and Marcus Freeman over there. But if we had some Lincoln Riley characteristics from what they do to produce, 4 in a row at this point, quarterbacks from a recruiting and development standpoint, we really can't lose. I say Lincoln Riley because that's an example that's out there now. He's still cooking. So I think the development of that quarterback position is the next step. I think it solves a lot of answers outside of just getting more 5 stars. Them teams we played, think about it. Robert Hainsey was going against a D-line that was all 4 of them All-Americans in 2018. and then when it gets a Bama team, the next year with all Americans, best at each position. So, you're playing at the peak level. And just know it don't get harder than that. So the gap ain't far to close. Little more recruiting, better quarterback play. We in a good position. If you put 2018, who was in 2018? If you gave us Trevor Lawrence on that 2018 team when we was undefeated, we would have won a championship.
Let me think about that one.
We had a run game. We had an O-line. We had tight ends for days. Receivers was good enough. And the defense was the best at that point.
They still have the same defensive line?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that deal. Okay,
now,
maybe not have
wait.
won the championship.
No, because Javon was balling. Javon was balling that year.
Yeah.
And Javon had at least 2 or 3 opportunities in that game that if Ian pulled the trigger, it would. Yes. I can see that. I can see that.
Because Clemson was the best team that year, right?
They went in and spanked Alabama in 2.
Yeah. And they didn't spank us though. They beat us for sure, but the numbers look funny at the end because of them last one play touchdown type of thing. But I'm telling you, with a generational talent quarterback, because I'm not gonna say better, I'm gonna say a generational talent quarterback, we would have got the job done that year. 2012, it was, we wasn't at that point.
No, that Alabama team in 2020 was.
2012 was just
2012 and in 20, just a different level.
Yeah,
that's a different level. I have this argument. I'll tell B. Drisk. B. Drisk knows. We had this argument all the time. He feels like, well, Notre Dame, because of the Manti stuff, they weren't mentally there.
No, we wasn't.
I'm like, dude, it wasn't just.
It was too many things that popped out. That's like, oh, that's too good. Our linebackers didn't look good at all. It wasn't no emotion. That was just physically, they didn't want to tackle in the hole.
Eddie Lacy was as big as your linebackers, bro. He was flat out as big as your linebackers.
Flat out. And then if that wasn't a problem, you got Amari Cooper out there just killing you one-on-one all day.
A true freshman Amari Cooper that was already a technician, route runner. Crazy.
So, yeah, and then you had Chance Warmack, like just giant as offensive lineman. But we was running 3 down. Like, we was depending on our linebackers to be there, So, yeah, no.
Yeah.
We was better defensively for the championship games. We was better defensively in 18 than we was in 12. But, man, either way, it was tough.
Our boys found out quick that they were not Oklahoma. This ain't Oklahoma, boy.
But think about the psychological factor that plays when you have a generational talent quarterback. The only person it didn't work for was Kyler going against Bama, and that's because he's kind of short. But every other time you have a generational quarterback on your team, you feel good going into the game no matter who you're going against. The only time I felt like even that didn't matter was Kyler against Alabama. That's because they didn't have no defense. So it wasn't even his fault.
I will say this. If you're going to, at some point in a game like that, Notre Dame is going to have to get the other team to pay attention. And more than likely, they're going to have to do it offensively. Like, you're not like Ohio State got Georgia's attention with their offense.
Because of the
offense. Like, oh, snap. Okay. It's a ball game tonight. We're going to have to play.
Because it's easier to build an unstoppable defense just on probability and, quarterbacks aren't as efficient as professionals. But when you get a standalone quarterback, and it can be a halfway decent Charlie Jones. You're gonna be all right. You're gonna be like, okay, I got something for you. Even though we may not win.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it's gonna be a lot of pressure on you. Bryce Young against Georgia in the SEC championship. Bryce Young gave Alabama a chance because he's Bryce Young. Georgia's defense, we had Jordan Davis, all them big, and they got him one out of the 2 times, but shoot. You
Not
felt
the most
good
important
with the
time.
quarterback going both times.
Yeah. So offense, I do believe Notre Dame is going to go into one of these semifinal games, and their offense is finally going to make that play. Right? The play that Ian Book had in 18 early, Javon McKinley, he missed it. The plays in 20, right? You beat Clemson, you come back in the ACC championship game, and you have Avery Davis wide open. You got tight ends wide open. And Ian's just missing. Like, the opportunities are there early to put points on the board and get them behind again. You have to make the opportunities, and you have to grab the attention of the other team and affect their psyche offensively. Right? Because a good team, you can stop them the first quarter, second quarter. They still feel like they're going to put 30 points up on you.
Like Ohio State. Ohio State was getting whooped by Utah in the Rose Bowl, and then they got C.J. Stroud. They put up 40 points towards the end. Caleb Williams, it's never down and out when you got a guy like Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
And their losses are 40-point losses. They go toe-to-toe to the end, except the Utah game, but he was hurt. He was on one leg type of deal.
Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Thank you guys so much. Great show today. Great talking to you guys. We went over the importance of Gino Giudugli as the quarterback coach at Notre Dame and his impact. And we talked about how we thought Marcus Freeman was going to really spring forth as a head coach. And this team is going to play really well and have a chip on the shoulder. And we also talked about CJ Carr update, clarifying some things with him and his visit to Texas A&M with his 7-on-7 squad. By the way, 2 big-time targets at the wide receiver position just happen to be on the same 7-on-7 team with CJ Carr and Ryan Wingo and TJ Moore. I'm just saying. That's the quarterback that they're going to be playing catch with all spring and all summer. Just saying. Just saying. Let's get to some of these comments, bro. Shamrocks and shenanigans. I don't think CFB fans outside of Irish Nation understand just how big the recent additions to the quarterback and why Irish offense is about to take an insane leap.
Insane leap. Who we get? Cam Newton? That's an insane leap. I even take a Johnny Manziel.
Cam Newton did bring an insane leap.
Shit, we got Joe Burrow, his second year at LSU. Who we get? But I don't know about an insane leap. I think it'll be you'll see us highlight more of our talent. But insane leap is like undefeated guys sitting in New York because we just been kicking butt from the position. That's a leap. But we'll be. I think people will be excited to see us have more talent than they give us credit for offensively.
Our guy Marcel, thank you, Marcel, for tapping in. This is my question: if Kenny Minchie takes a huge step up on the depth chart, will Tyler Buckner transfer?
It's about opportunity at this point. Is he going to get the reps even to pressure Tyler Buckner this year? I don't know. But if Tyler Buckner can't stay healthy, then we definitely need to
consider the main issue.
What that looks like,
Yeah. For Tyler, it's all about his. It's all about.
That's it. Like
it really is. It's all about his health because his health has stunted his growth.
Yeah.
Not being healthy has stunted his growth, and he should be much further ahead, but he can't stay healthy. Jay Henry. Yes. Caleb beat, look, I said this, right? When Marcus Freeman went to visit him during his basketball season, the way he was acting about it media, I told people, like, yo, Notre Dame is in this. Like, Tennessee is one-hit wonder, in my opinion, under Josh Heupel. Now he's visiting on April 1st. Last visit, Marcus Freeman's going to bring this one home. You can believe it. He's going to bring. I fully believe he's going to bring this home. I told you Marcus Freeman's about to show who he is, Left.
Yeah.
He's about to show who he is as a head coach, as a recruit. I'm telling you. It's about to go down. It's about to go down. Left, make sure you watch the show, man.
I'm jumping on the show right after we get off. And I might even call you on the phone because I'm such a fan of Snowfall. I can't even wait till tomorrow.
You already know what time it is.
Petticoat. Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Well, we did a good job executing.
Now, are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty story? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction, petty story the other day brought to you by Onora Whiskey, EnoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, EnoraWhiskey.com. Left, I got something super petty for you, bro. I saw this early this morning on the news, and I said, oh, they on the petty train. I'm putting Ford Automotive on the petty train.
Oh, yeah.
Ford Automotive has applied for a patent that would allow them to repossess cars remotely. So what are you saying, Shaun? What I'm saying is you could be sleeping in the crib, behind on your car note, walk out. No one has come with a tow truck to repossess your car.
It's drove itself.
Your car is going to drive itself
to return
to the tow yard, so it can be repossessed. They are actually doing this. And if you get 45 days, anywhere from 15 to 45 days behind, they're going to start affecting your controls in your vehicle, meaning you won't be able to use your air condition or your heat.
Yeah,
depending on the season. That this is all real. It's all in the story, bro. As a deterrent to get you to pay your car. Now, I don't know how you think that's going to make people pay.
Yeah, that's the best way to advertise not to buy your car is to tell people what you're gonna do. Because this is how it's gonna be. They're trying to slowly roll you into, just get in the car, let the car take you anywhere. It's gonna start taking you some places. All right, you ain't gonna have no control.
So when they remotely get this car to go back to the yard and it gets in an accident, who's liable?
Can't be me.
Who's liable?
What if you got stuff in the car? Maybe you got some your work stuff or because I know my car is like my closet in a sense. Your work shoes or something, man, you be messed up.
It hasn't been granted yet. It is pending. The patent application describes new systems and methods to repossess a vehicle. Inventors are listed as Anthony Moraldo of Southgate, Brendan Diamond of Grosse Pointe, and Keith Weston of Canton. They snuck an Ohio dude up in there.
Shame.
Michael Allen McNeese of Flat Rock, all Ford engineers. I just don't think that's going to go. I guess what they're trying to save is confrontation when the tow truck drivers come to the cars.
Hey, insurance got too high covering tow truck drivers.
Man,
they get in altercations every day.
Yeah.
Gotta find a way to help these guys out. They get used on the job. Oh, that's
dude.
crazy.
I saw that. I said, "Oh man, this is wild."
How freaky would it be though? The car driving itself back, and you're like on the road, and you look over, and you got an empty car driving next to you. That freak people.
But I wonder, can they? Like, let's say you get in the car and you're headed to work, and they just take over the car and drive you to the lot. Like, there's so many rabbit holes for this man.
Who would want to buy something like that? Seriously.
I don't know. But hey, in order to do something like this, man, this can't even be considered unless somebody's 2 months behind. Come on, man. Like, if you're like 10 days behind on your payment, come on. You're about to, look, I can't play my music. I can't use my CarPlay.
It'd be cold as hell. You can't turn on the heat.
I can't turn on the heat in the winter. Like, what are we doing?
They're going to start rolling windows automatically in the cold.
Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I can't turn on the heat in the winter. I can't turn on the AC. Hey, what's worse? No heat in the winter or no AC in the summer?
No heat in the winter. Because you could drive fast with the windows open, you know.
No heat in the winter.
You can't even escape no heat in the winter with the windows rolled up. You can escape the heat in a rolling car, but you can't escape the cold in a rolling car. It get colder if you open the windows.
I guess you're right, Lef. Look, let me got a true story. So my cousin, man, dude, I let him have it till this day. My cousin, right? This dude had an ear implantation, right? So when he got into a pool, he couldn't go underwater, right? Because he couldn't get his ear wet, right? So my brother, we went to a picnic and my brother threw him in a pool and just threw him in a pool. He was mad. I was getting ready to leave with my fiance at the time. It was a church picnic. So we get in the car and we're like 50 miles north of Chicago at this forest preserve. So we have at least an hour and 40-minute drive back to the crib left. This dude is shivering in my back seat. It is 98. It is 98 degrees in Chicago. It's the summertime. It's 98 degrees. And he's like, bro, can you please turn the heat on? I'm freezing. So I'm like, dude, it's 98 degrees. What are you talking about? So if it was just me in the car, I would have, dude, there's no way I'm turning the heat on. But of course, the missus is like, go ahead, turn the heat on. He's freezing. I rode for an hour. In 98 degree heat with the heat on, bro. And didn't even get a
nah, see, that's
not right, man. I still tell him to this day, you selfish, dude.
Yeah.
You selfish,
bro. You selfish. Because I had to take the bullet for that.
I took the bullet. And I didn't ask for gas money because I dropped you off at the crib.
Oh, man.
Man, that's my worst heat story in the car. That's my worst heat story in the car. John Morant, come to the front of the room, my man.
Oh, my God.
Come on, man. Yeah. Come here. Yeah. John Morant, let us punch your ticket.
Yeah, you get the first seat. You get the first seat on the train. You're crazy.
First of all, you, because I don't usually do this, you and your mama.
Oh.
First of all, your mother for getting into an argument with an employee at Finish Line. Your mother has money. Why is she at a Finish Line? Why is she not ordering sneakers from the crib?
Yeah, you got the discount. You have your own shoe, John.
What is going on? Why is she at the local mall? That's my question. For sneakers. Like, what are we doing? Your mother should be getting sneakers from Nike every day. Every day. She should have every pair of Jordan, every pair of Air Force Ones, every Air Max. You're a Nike player. What is going on? Why is she at the finish line? For what? And then she calls you because she got into an argument with the employee. And then you pull up to the mall 18 deep.
No, you don't. Wait, what story is this?
You pull up to the mall 18 deep, trying to confront the employee at the finish line because your mama called you to the mall.
Shaun, you're
what
lying.
are we doing?
Shaun, you're lying. I didn't see that.
Oh, this is in the police report.
This ties into the 17-year-old.
No, that's something else outside of the 17-year-old.
Man, I didn't hear about this, John Moran.
Authorities and security stopped him and his crew outside of the mall, according to reports. This is according to security officers' report at the mall. Stopped them from going inside and confronting the employee.
John Moran, you got money. What are you doing?
Dude, cats can't lead us. They can't lead that street. They can't. They can't.
Oh my God.
They can't.
John
just can't leave
like
it alone.
He's in high school or something.
He's doing well. Memphis is real. Now, I'm not trying to disrespect Memphis because certain parts of Memphis is real.
Yeah, but
they're real. But Memphis is a smaller town. Memphis, I guarantee, if John was in Chicago, he wouldn't be doing that crap. I guarantee you that. I guarantee that. You don't roll up on some. You don't know whose family that is, man. And then he had the nerve to say, leaving, I better not find out what time he gets off. So you were going to come back to the mall?
You won't going to let it go? You're going to keep going?
Left. When was the last time? No. Left. When was the last time you've been to a mall?
It's been a minute.
Thank you. And we have nowhere near the connections or the loot that John Moran has. When's the last time you think LeBron James has been to the mall, Left?
Never.
When last time? When you think the last time Bronny James has been to the mall, Left?
Probably never been to the mall.
What about Bryce James?
Never. Probably can't even go if you wanted to. Well, John Morant still probably eat at McDonald's, wears the Nike tech suits, like, and that's fine. But it's like, bro, you're a multi-millionaire.
Bruh. And I'm not saying anything bad about I'm not saying anything bad about malls. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying when you have money, you're not going to malls, man. What? You're not going to malls. You're an elite athlete. You're not rolling up into malls. What are you, a 14-year-old R&B singer trying to get girls excited or something? What? Who? Dude, mama, what's wrong? Let's do the finish line. Mama, just go home. Like, what are you trying to get? I'm trying to get these shoes. Okay, I'll get them for you. Just go home. I'll bring them to you. Get on the phone. Call my assistant. I need you to go get these shoes and tell Nike to send these shoes to my mother. You're John Morant. What are we doing? I'm sorry, man. That's my rant for the day. Pun intended for John Morant. It's ridiculous, man.
But like for
dude, I couldn't believe the story when I read it.
I'm trying to find this story, man.
It was all over Twitter yesterday. I don't know how you missed it.
I didn't know a story.
And shout out to Paul George for finally admitting that he wasn't a dude.
Oh, what happened?
No, he was on with JJ Redick and said, he's not the right now. he's not a player that can lead a team to a championship. I said, dude, we've been knew that. What are you talking about?
We knew that since the bubble.
Yeah, we've been knew that.
Since the nicknames came out.
Run DMP.
Yeah, like
him and Kawhi.
ARP, really?
Run DMP. Do not play or did not.
Yeah, that's what you get. That's what you get.
Hey, for the Culture Friday tomorrow, hopefully Malik will do his job. And we can give you some good snowfall content. And we'll have a good interview, good visitor for you tomorrow as well, man.
There we go.
Lucky Lefty Podcast. See you tomorrow. Have a great Thursday. Most of all, make sure that you spin it different.